Tlahuicole and Galvarino, the two biggest badasses ever. Galvarino was a real-life Wolverine who had blades instead of hands, and Tlahuicole was a giant who beat up grown-ass men as if they were children, like... Both Tlahuicole and Galvarino lived in the age of Aztec dominance, and though they are not connected beyond that, I like to think that these two badasses don't mind sharing a video because both of them shared the same life philosophy.
I killed for fun!
Let's start with Tlahuicole. Born in 1497 and already towering over grown men when he was a mere teenager, and at just 20 years young, Tlahuicole rose to be the chief of his clan who fought to save his people from the bloodthirsty Aztecs. And when I say bloodthirsty Aztecs, I mean bloodthirsty, man. These Aztecs believed that the world would end if they don't have sacrifices whose blood they can drain and whose beating heart they can offer to the sun god Huitzilopochtli, a god they believed was forever fighting off the eternal darkness threatening our world and needs to drink human blood to stay in that fight. So the Aztecs constantly supply him with human blood bags, but since these don't usually come willingly, like want to donate, the Aztecs needed captives, and for that they conquered everybody in their lands, like... See what I did there? Smoothest sponsor integration you're ever gonna see. That footage was from War Thunder, by the way, a game that's free to play, so even I can afford it because
I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
War Thunder is just straight up all about mayhem, warfare, seriously, tanks and warships and planes and helicopters all in one game, like all fighting large scale PvP battles, and then every once in a while, you know, you can just casually drop a goddamn nuke, like...
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
And all the war vehicles are so historically accurate, by the way, from the mid-20th century to now, and the sound design and the graphics so detailed that the game doesn't even need to use a lame health bar. Nah, man. All damage is displayed visually in game. The maps and locations are just as realistic and already had anything from Alaska to Africa, but the new Seek and Destroy update introduces the Mysterious Valley and the Bering Sea maps, which add more aerial and naval battles to a game that already lets you duke it out anywhere, from land to water to the air battles. The update also includes Benelux aviation, adds active radar homing missiles, and dozens of gameplay improvements, which means that the gameplay in War Thunder right now is just tight. New players and those who haven't played in 6 months or more who download the game from the link in the description get tons of in-game currency and a time premium account as a thank you, along with rentals, and they get free unique skins and a special decorator, Eagle of Valor, and even more cool gifts. So it doesn't matter if you're on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. Click the link in my description and download War Thunder for free. Otherwise, the Aztecs will turn you into a human blood bag for Huitzilopochtli, just like they were looking to capture and sacrifice Tlahuicole's people, the Tlaxcalcan. And when the Aztecs came looking for a fight, man, the Tlaxcalcan's warrior chief Tlahuicole, he was like,
I'm gonna kill each and every one of you, and the only disappointment in it for me is that I only get to do it once.
And so he led his men against the Aztecs in a battle that went on for 20 days, with Tlahuicole plowing through Aztecs like Diddy did through... no, this video is sponsored. I can't do the joke. And Tlahuicole plowed through the Aztecs with a pair of tomahawks that were each so big, it was said that other men couldn't even lift one. And his physique, Tlahuicole's physique, was said to be so imposing that even the brave Aztecs were scared to fight him one-on-one. And you have to understand, that's saying something, because Aztec warriors,
Forget about it.
man, the Aztecs had this thing where they never took a step backwards in battle, and they were wearing goddamn jaguar hats and wielding 42-inch modified clubs lined with obsidian blades so sharp that the Spanish later said that they could cut a horse's head clean off. So yeah, these guys were scared of Tlahuicole, and his 2 tomahawks dashes how badass the man was. And after 20 days of fighting the Aztecs, all of Tlahuicole's tribesmen had died, and this 20-year-old giant was the last man standing, only defeated once the Aztecs used their overwhelming numbers to capture him. Now, as I told you, usually capture means you become a blood bag for the sun god, but the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma was told about Tlahuicole's skill in battle, and he was like,
And what I want? I want you.
So Moctezuma became Tlahuicole's #1 fan and granted him his freedom, treasure, and women. But Tlahuicole, he was like,
You think you can do this to me?
and he refused the offer. For losing in battle to the Aztecs was a disgrace, and surviving was even more disgraceful, and this offer of pity was the pinnacle of disrespect. Tlahuicole demanded that Moctezuma
Put some respect on my name.
So he asked to be sacrificed along with his brothers. Hell, he begged for it. Tlahuicole would rather rip his own heart out rather than receive the filthy Aztecs' mercy. But all that badass behavior just made Emperor Moctezuma even harder for Tlahuicole's tomahawk, and so the emperor switched up his strategy. Rather than spare Tlahuicole, he ordered him, as a captive, to be the Aztecs' new war chief and capture another tribe in their name. And since Tlahuicole was a man of honor first and foremost, he accepted that the man who defeated and captured him had the right to now order him around. And all Tlahuicole now really needed was for the Aztecs to point them in the direction of the clan they wanted annihilated off the face of the earth. And once they did point in that direction, I'm sorry. It's just, that scene, it just always works. Tlahuicole dealt with the enemy clan, and after he returned to the Aztecs victorious with many human blood bags and Tau, Emperor Moctezuma's tomahawk increased in size for this beast of a man, and he offered Tlahuicole to make him Aztec nobility. But, of course, Tlahuicole refused. And so finally the Aztec Emperor honored his wishes to die, and out of respect for Tlahuicole's gangster, he allowed the man to die as he lived. A warrior. The Aztecs had a famous stone of combat, a massive rock in the arena with a drainage system installed underneath, and sacrifices were chained to the rock, their arms free to wield weapons and fight off waves of warriors until they die, while their blood is collected by the drainage below. And since the Aztec warriors' weapons are studded with more than razor-sharp obsidian blades, a lot of blood was regularly being collected. So basically it's horde survival mode from video games, and in this version Tlahuicole was the main character, and true to the main character energy he had displayed for all of his life, my man managed to fight for an hour and took down 8 of the Aztecs' elite jaguar warriors and wounded 20 more before he died, and his valuable warrior heart and blood was finally offered to the sun. The year is 1557, 30 years after Tlahuicole's death, and the Aztecs were still out conquering people like... Okay, for real. I swear this was really the last time.
I ain't gonna say it no more.
Little did the Aztecs know that this was also the last time they would do some conquering at all, because Cortes and the gang were on their way over from Spain to do a little conquering of their own. Of course, the Aztecs were not the only clan who then had to fight off the foreign invaders. The Mapuche clan was one of many fighting for their survival, and Galvarino was one of the Mapuche's finest men. And when the Spanish came in hot, ready to go, Galvarino racked up quite the Latino body count. Yo, in a different context, that entire last sentence hits different. Insert a Diddy joke here somewhere. Sponsor, no, don't. But over time, the Spanish and their superior weapons and armor overwhelmed the Mapuche, and the foreign conquerors decided to make an example out of Galvarino. They wanted to hear this fearsome warrior scream in front of his men so that they see their hero suffer and are scared into surrender, and thus the Spanish gave Galvarino the Jaime Lannister treatment. they chopped his hand off. Except, like Jamie, the little sissy, Galvarino did not scream. He did not even flinch. Yo, this man did not react at all. And they took both hands, Jamie, both hands, just saying. In fact, instead of giving the Spanish the reaction they desired, Galvarino just silently put his head on the chopping block next. But the Spanish were not about to make him a martyr, so they cut his nose off instead. And the historical records don't say whether he screamed or not, but I like to think he must have at least cried, because you know when you get punched in the nose, it's not that you're not mad, you just cry, and they went straight Michael Jackson on his nose, you get me. Then the Spanish sent noseless and handless Galvarino back to his people, confident that at his side they would stop rebelling against their new masters. But as soon as he got home, Galvarino seriously strapped blades to his fresh wounds and bandaged up that cut-off nose of his, which if you think about it, bandaging the nose, in essence, is kind of like a mask, and really must have made him look like a superhero. So I guess with the blades for hands and the superhero bandage mask thing going on, you could call Galvarino Wolverine. I'm sorry. So then Wolverino led his remaining clansmen into a battle against the Spanish on November 30th, 1557, 3,000 Mapuche rushing the Spanish encampment, ready to slaughter the 1,500 remaining foreign conquering bastards, and with Wolverino on their side and vengeance on their minds, their fighting spirit was way over 9,000, and so the Mapuche, they got absolutely crushed by the Spanish, like obliterated, bro. Mapuche versus the Spanish, this battle was
Not even close.
not even a single Spanish person died, like, bro. I mean, they had cannons, literally set up cannons in their camp, and Galvarino led his people right into the cannon fire. Huge tactical error, it got nasty. But come on, he strapped blades to his hands and had a mask on and brought knives to a cannon fight. Like, what? That's a moral victory if I've ever seen one. And even the Spanish thought so. And after the battle, true to his name, Wolverino survived yet again. And the Spanish captured him and asked him to fight for their side. Like, as if the dude who strapped knives to his stump wounds just to keep on fighting without a nose would join you, you genocidal, conquering, self-entitled maniac bastards. In fact, Galvarino said he'd fight them with his teeth if he had to, and the Spanish were so in awe of his fighting spirit that they killed him. Yeah, I mean, fool me once, right?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Galvarino was dead. But this is one of those Kardashian-sized, the huge butts, you get me? Due to Galvarino's spirit, due to his courage, the Mapuche people kept on opposing and fighting the Spanish invaders, and when it was all said and done, the Mapuche, one of the few tribes that were never